and also making a personal preparation then for whatever it is that you are waiting for. So the anticipation is a key part of that. The second element here, patiently, of course, patiently, as I said, it's the same Hebrew word, wait, and so it has the essence of yearning, yearning for him. I wait before the Lord, yearning for him. It is another way of writing that text to help us maybe get a little bit more understanding. But it's a dual sense of expectation and anticipation woven together, coupled with desire and eagerness. So you hopefully can get a little bit of a mental picture as to what he's really describing here about his attitude and his position as he is waiting for the Lord. And then in this verse he goes on to recognize that God did hear him because he infers that God turned to me, so he got God's attention, and God then is focusing upon him. And the result, as interpreted by the writer here, presumably David, in any case the psalmist or the poet, that person then recognized that God heard my cry for help. So for us, in our day-to-day lives, as we come upon crises or difficulties or times of sorrow and grief, this is a process and this is a principle for us. Because sometimes we, more often than not, are going to be yearning for God to respond to our situation, yearning for Him to help, yearning for Him to give us illumination, give us direction, and this process is helpful for us in those cases because in many of those times we're anything but patient. We just are excited and trying to figure out how can we get this to work, thinking that maybe we need to be the one that's doing all of this. But as we see here in this process, the psalmist is looking for God to help, and he observes that God indeed is turning to him and is hearing his cry that he is expounding here. So in verse number 2, we see then immediate recognition, and don't know what the time frame is from the time that the request was made for God's help and when the actual activity or action began that's described here. In verse 2, he brought me up from a desolate pit out of the muddy clay and set my feet on a rock, making my steps secure. So we see by these complex words, descriptors, these adjectives, whatever we want to call them, describing his situation or illustrating his situation that he felt like he was in. He was in a desolate pit, so there's the element of loneliness, being alone and feeling like there is no help that is on the horizon. In a pit, you're in a deep hole, you are surrounded by a hard straight-up wall that you don't think you can climb to get out. It's all the elements of us having almost the situation of helplessness in a situation and feeling alone, like I don't know where to go for help, and I don't know how I'm going to get out of this hole that I'm in, using other terminology. It's further elaborated and illustrated by use of these other adjectives. Out of the muddy clay, again, if you've ever been out in outside there after rain or snow melting or whatever, and you get into a place that's really soft, you many times walk right out of your boots or right out of your shoes because the muck holds on to your boot so tightly that you pull right out of it. That's the imagery that I see the writer using here. So out of the scriptures there, the desolate pit, being alone, being isolated with no way out, and being held tightly, the muddy clay, and being in an unsettling position without stability to stand on. The strong contrast then at the latter part of this verse, and set my feet on a rock. Of course, the inference there is God himself, and he is the rock. The Old Testament uses that terminology a number of times. And so setting your feet on a rock giving you a strong foundation to stand on. For always looking for strong foundations in the building industry, in life, and so forth, that we would have a strong foundation that would, as the writer that further describes, makes my steps secure. When King James establishes my goings. So it adds a huge element of stability on on that. So coming from feeling on the verge of destruction, then the Lord lifted him up and put him on a stable place or a stable position. And so it's a contrast from sinking sand to solid rock, from stuck in the mud to standing secure, and a huge change, 180 degrees, comes about. And that caused me to think about the song. From loving kindness Jesus came, he lifted me. And in loving kindness Jesus came, my soul in mercy to reclaim. And from the depths of sin and shame, through grace he lifted me. And the refrain, from sinking sand he lifted me. With tender hand he lifted me. From shades of night to plains of light, oh, praise his name, he lifted me. So songwriters have come to the Psalms to write their songs as have been given to us in the Bible, and it's not limited just to the songs that are used for familiar hymns, familiar songs that we hear and that we sing as a part of our worship experiences. Verse number 3, he put a new song in my mouth. Joel was alluding to that. We're going to have a new song in our mouth in our worship time today. We're going to do a new song, but in this case, God is putting a new song. In other words, it's different. It's not something that David had. It is a new song to him. But the irony of sorts is that it is a hymn of praise to our God. So God is giving him a new song in his heart to use to praise God. And therein is a conclusion we can draw as we look at this principle or this concept, is that we would many times have a similar experience by the work of the Holy Spirit through, like the leader feels good to introduce a new song, to help them further in the worship experience and the input that is then exported, if you will, to God. And that's the cycle that I see here in this first sentence, talking to the new song in our mouth is given by God, for God then to receive praise as a result of. And that really is the objective of singing hymns and songs in worship anyway, is to praise God, to give him honor, give him glory, as well as to mature us in our spiritual walk and draw us much more close to him. So this song is going to be the song of Witness, which is a large part of a worship experience. We'll see elaborated on in the subsequent verses a little more than even what we see here. But it is a testimony that is going to be expressed about the goodness of God and the graciousness of God, the mercy of God, the love of God, and all those different elements of character and person that we have been studying about here in this series, and we have encountered in prior studies, likewise, and even in our private study in the Bible. So verse number 4, how happy is anyone who has put his trust in the Lord and has not turned to the proud or to those who run it the lie. This how happy is like a beatitude. You go over and read in Matthew where Jesus is speaking and the Beatitudes are listed. This is a similar thing. It's also similar to what we looked at last week when I asked you to look in the Bible and read Psalm 1. Last week we did that, and it has this same phrase incorporated within it. How happy is the one who has put his trust in the Lord. And if we just take that phrase right there and put it on a card and carry it in the pocket and look at it from time to time throughout the day, we're going to be stronger believers, and we're going to be people in living life. Because if we remind ourselves of this principle of putting our trust in the Lord, we're going to be blessed and we're going to be happy. And that's interchangeable there, even in the Beatitudes. The blessed or happy. It's a similar concept, and two different approaches of dimension, I guess you could say, in use differentially. So in the last phrase there that follows, and has not turned to the proud are those who are the wise. Of course, this is, you have the positive in the beginning and the negative in the conclusion of this sentence. So we don't want to find ourselves as turning to the proud. And humanity is somewhat naturally drawn to that. You have people who are followers of the crowd who are sports leaders and champions. And you have people who are the crowd who are movie stars and so forth. You have authority and positions that are proud, and humanity tends to gravitate toward those people who want to stand for another. But that's the contrast here, that negative of the illustration that the psalmist is giving to us here in this verse. So the second alternative of negative is or to those who run after lies. And again, as we look at the world we're living in, we have a world full of people who are doing this very thing. They're running after lies. Your addicts are all running after lies. They think that whatever it is that they're seeking for addiction, whether it be alcohol or soda, or whether it be sugar, or whether it be fentanyl or other kinds of drugs, those are lies. There is no good in those things in the ultimate fashion. And so we should remember this process and not find ourselves personally then running after the lies, whether it be any of those examples that I have given. So having looked at that, then going into verse number 5, and we say, Lord my God, you have done many things, your wondrous works and your plans for us. None can compare with you. If I were to record and speak of them, they are more than can be told. So, looking at these first phrases here, you have, or none can compare with you. That idea is, of course, that good work and purpose-filled plans that God on our behalf is giving to us and making available for us is beyond our intellectual ability to grasp and to measure, and beyond our mathematical ability to actually count, is a comparative statement of what the writer is saying here. But in the first element here, the observation is obvious that God has done many things. And it would be well to recognize that more frequently, too, in our day-to-day living, is to stop and realize that God has done many things, and it's beyond our ability to count those things. To a certain degree, but beyond our ability to even comprehend or to observe all of those things, because we find new things coming along frequently that all of a sudden somebody discovered that's been there all the time, and it's just out there in the periphery of some sort, and all of a sudden it's another wonderful work of God that has been discovered. The middle phrase, or I guess the last phrase in the first sentence, none can compare with you. And we looked at that some time ago when we were looking at the title of God and the fact that he says, I am God and there is no other. That is pretty obvious that none can compare with God. The false gods that this world have pointed to and followed after in many different sections of populations, they cannot compare with the Lord God Almighty and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit as being the Trinity, God Almighty, Yahweh, and none can compare. And as he says in the last sentence, if I, the psalmist, were to report and speak of all these things, they are more than can be told. In other words, I can't think of all of them, I couldn't list them all. And that brings to mind here in this verse in John. John 1, verse 25, John 21:25. And there are also many other things that Jesus did, which if every one of them were written down, I suppose not even the world itself could contain the books that will be written. So here in the New Testament, we see a further elaboration on that principle that the psalmist gave us in Psalm 40. And so this helps to maybe illuminate in our hearts and minds better understanding of what the psalmist was talking about. Because to me, this is very clear. Jesus is God, and if we're mistaking him and what he did on this earth, that is not recorded in our written Bible. But we don't need to have it in our written Bible because Jesus did it, and it has an importance. But it is so much that he did that was not recorded that the book couldn't be enough. Couldn't be enough to contain all that. Any questions or comments on our first part? Carol?
This might be of not only wonderful things that God does since the beginning. A lot of them we already aware of at the time they're happening. Because most likely later on we may realize that this is what we did. We are aware of a lot of things we see, but at the a lot of times, we don't realize it until later.
That's right.
To mind.
Absolutely. And sometimes that realization comes about because somebody else points it out to us.
Yeah.
Did you know what happened in your life is going to turn out to be such and such because of what God did to you? And you know, at the time you may not have seen that perspective, but somebody else did. They shared it, and then you have that knowledge too. You're absolutely right. Yes. Anybody else have some comment or question? Okay, let me look at my summary points here. Waiting patiently on the Lord will yield blessed results. We all can follow this path day by day. Waiting patiently on the Lord will yield blessed results. Second point, God's grace will take one from no footing to sure footing. And that happens in salvation. When we're lost, we have no footing. There's no sureness to our footing. But in God, our footing is absolutely positively on the rock and is sure. Next point, God will give a person a new occasion and desire for expressing fresh praise to God. That's a part of our testimony experience, our testimony life, where God gives us these events in our lives. God gives us these insights as we read His Word. God gives us these observations and so forth and so on. And that's an occasion and gives us an impetus to actually express a testimony for Him, a fresh praise to God, so that others may hear, and God will be glorified, and we would be stronger in a relationship with Him. Going on. Next point, we must testify of God and His redemption. We're going to see a little bit more of this elaborate here in the next verse that we're going to be looking at here. But it's a requirement that if we're looking for Christ, and we should, we must be about testifying for the Lord and giving Him credit and honor and glory for His redemption that He brings upon humanity and personally upon me. And the last point, we really have no way to express all that God has done for us. No matter how we try to do it, we still are going to come up short with the words that we use. Because the words that we have available to us, first of all, just aren't comprehensive enough and big enough for us to be able to have something that's going to fully express what God has done for us. We can maybe come close. We use a lot of good words and say some really good things, but it's still going to fall a little bit short as to express all that God's done for us. Just for case in point, how can we ever thank God for the salvation He gave us? I mean, we can testify, and we should, and we can glorify, and we should, and we can give God credit, and we should, and on, but it still is, by our English language and our mental and expressive abilities, limited, we still can't do it in all the ways that it really needs to be done by the magnitude of what God has given. Okay, my outline point 2. Obedience. This is the key word in this section. Obedience will fill our heart for worship with the gratitude and joy salvation brings. Psalm 40, verses 6, 7, and 8. Let me read those. Sacrifice and offering thou didst not desire. My ears hast thou opened. Burnt offering and sin offering hast thou not required. Then said I, Lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me, I delight to do thy will. O my God, yea, thy law is within my heart. So, Thomas is moving on here to look at another expression of worship, and that is what we find in the first books of the Bible there, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Numbers, and so forth. And yet we, as we've been in the discipleship studying about the book of Leviticus, talking about the law and its implementation and God's plan and purpose for it, and people's needs to relate to it as it's given, yet we see here a confounding phrase in some respects where the psalmist says, you do not delight in sacrifice and offering. Well, if you look in Leviticus, where did the direction to do sacrifice and offering come from? It came from God. So that's a little bit of a quandary for you to just stop there and try to understand. But he also adds a second point that is related but not consecutive per se to the first phrase. He goes on to say semicolon there separates it in both translations. You open my ears to listen. That's a separate thought, but it's a related thought to that. And so let me have you read the verse here in the CEV translation. Because as I was looking around, looking for insights and so forth, I looked at this translation, and there are others similar to this. But notice how it reads. It says, sacrifices and offerings are not what please you. So in fact, God is not truly, ultimately pleased by sacrifices and offerings. He was in the context of the early history of the Jewish nation, and in the other context that he was presenting there by outlining these for sacrifices and religious meeting, and the requirements then spiritually for those people to follow. But going on, he says, gifts and payment for sin are not what you demand. In other words, we can't buy our salvation, and giving God money and giving God a house, as he said to David when he was talking about building the temple, so forth. These are things that God could do in a moment, and God doesn't need these kinds of things. But the last sentence, but you may be willing to listen and obey. So the psalmist is making this strong observation here, is my personal focus, and I'm paraphrasing, my personal focus in worshiping God is not based upon the offerings that I bring, or the physical elements of worship that I bring. It's not the payments that are made, or sacrifices that are submitted for sin, because we don't have the opportunity to accomplish salvation from our sin by making payments, or gifts, or sacrifices. The sacrifices we give were given by God and by Jesus Christ, as he died on the cross for us. The word but, though, makes the distinction. You may be willing to listen and obey. So as we look to the CEV, to me, to listen and obey, as I've underlined it, is a principal concept here for where the psalmist is going. And let me take you further down the path. And here in my reference on this slide, Son of God, when he came into the world, was saying, in effect, that although God had instituted sacrifice and offering for the nation of Israel, they never represented his ultimate intention. So God's ultimate intention was not that the sacrifice and offering would be done. It is a stopgap measure for the people to follow and to use in the interim time until Jesus Christ comes and is on the earth and then dies on the cross. And then that is the actual payment then that is going to take care of the sin debt that people have accumulated, if you will, during the time that Jesus was on the earth and had not yet gone to the cross. But here, let me show you some of these Old Testament references that give us further elaboration of what God is looking for whenever we worship. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 22, the first one. Then Samuel said, does the Lord take pleasure in burnt offerings and sacrifice as much as in obeying the Lord? This is a notable observation that has direct application for us today. And just let me give you the end of the story here. One of the things that is most important to God in our worship is obedience. The Bible supports that concept again and again and again from all directions, okay? And right here, it's very clear. Does the Lord take pleasure in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as in obeying the Lord? Well, it goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. They were disobedient. Next sentence. Look, to obey is better than sacrifice. To pay attention is better than the fat of the ram. So we have two features of worship here that are identified in this verse alone. To obey and to pay attention. So when we're worshiping, we don't need to have our mind going wishy-washy all over about what's on my text, or what's going to be for lunch, or where did I lay my glasses, or whatever happens to be in your mind at the moment. We need to try to filter that out so that we're paying attention to worship, which may be a multitude of things at the time, all involved. All right, going on.
Yep.
With the next verse.
We'll talk to the people about the
Isaiah
electricity
6:6.
bill.
Oh yeah.
Again,
Okay, good deal. I was gonna say, if you didn't, I will.
Oh yeah. Now I had the state police out here
Oh,
The knowledge of
Friday night.
Oh, you had the state police. Do tell. That's my back here.
Well, I called Jackson County, and they were busy with hoodlums running around Elkville. So, like, they didn't have any deputies to disperse. So the state came out, and I showed him the camera and everything. And so,
Is that garage right there?
Yeah.
We're half off.
yeah.
Okay.
Is that car still there? Apparently, that guy's pretty bad news.
There's a car right there, kind of in the alleyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed people have been in and
Yeah, keep your eyes out. Apparently, I was afraid of retribution. Well, they went over and the guy wasn't there. He's got warrants. So they would have arrested him.
Nice.
So they're squatting. There's nobody living there. They're just squatters.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I was wondering.
They're related distantly, but they're squatters. They're all meth, drugged out. Like,
Kind of like what happened at Phillips' house.
yeah, yep,
I don't even know who's there now. No pair.
yep. That's exactly. So anyway, yeah, the two people that the lady identified, because there's a lady who's on crutches that is over there. I guess she's the one that talked to Carolyn.
Oh, okay.
But the two people that they identified are they all have warrants. So yeah, that guy pulled over. He had a ladder or something. Got out of that car. And, yeah.
I gotta hear this.
Otherwise, it would just become not listening background. But like all things, we will abuse it, just like they started to abuse it later on, where it became about the sacrifice, like you said, and not about him. It's not about the sacrifice; it's about the heart he wants to get out of us by giving us the sacrifice.
Absolutely. As you say, it's not about the sacrifice, it's not about me, it's about God. And that's an important principle for us to remember. Have another. Meg, this is Walter, Micah, after 6.
Anyway.
So anyway, yeah, they came out and they went over. Nobody came to the door.
They see.
Yeah. So he had like 3 officers come. I said, I'm gonna go over there by myself. So he had backup, and they walked around. So they unplugged it, and they said if they plug it back in again, just unplug it. You know, call us. We made a report. There's nothing really they could do.
Can't do. Nobody's gonna do.
He said it's like a ticket
Yeah.
for the most part.
Like dumping trash away.
However, I looked at our electric. It was close closet from December to January is 3 times.
Yeah.
So they've been doing it for a while.
Yes, I have. Because Charity told me about it.
Yeah.
Nobody talks to him. I'll go over there.
Yeah. Well, see, I tried to talk to them. I went over,
Yeah. I'm
And
not
they-
gonna cuss them or anything. But
and they didn't answer the door. Then when I come back from lunch, the cord was gone. Well, when I come over here to close things up, because I planned on coming back to the office, but I didn't get a chance to. So later on in the evening, I come over to turn my light off, and I said, I'm gonna pull a camera up and see if they've, how long they've been doing this. Well, I saw it was plugged in then. So then I called the police. I said, I'm not gonna mess with this.
I'm gonna disable that plug-in. It's one on the outside.
Yeah.
I want to find what breaker it's on.
Yeah, that's what Grady said. We'll just,
We'll find out what breaker, what it
Trip
trips. It might go somewhere in the clothes closet we can't do.
I think it'll go all the way around. I think it just does the outlets.
Where at? In the outside of the.
I think inside and outside. I think it's just like on.
We can take it, pull the wires off, cap it, be done, block it off. Who cares?
Or we just get a lock. Get one of those lock.
Yeah, but what's the point? How many times do you use it outside?
That's what I say. We don't use
I'd rather
them.
take it off, plate it off, and cap it and be done.
Yeah.
Because it ain't like we can't open up the garage, plug something in, and run a extension cord out.
Yeah.
So, that'd be the-
How many? 28.
yeah,
Yeah. So that,
some swatters.
plugging up to our clothes closet. I had the state police out here Friday night.
It did address it.
And that state trooper, buddy, he was wanting to arrest him big time. He's like,
Really?
yeah.
He was
He's
all
like,
gung-ho, huh?
so he's like, how do you want to handle this? And I said, I really don't want to jam anybody up, but it's the principle. If they would have come and asked us, we might have been able to help them a little bit. I wouldn't have let them just, but I don't want anybody freezing. But it was the whole issue that they didn't ask, and when I went over to talk, nobody answered the door. And then when they pulled it in the afternoon, so I was watching on the camera because I didn't see anybody come over. Well, they went over to the side of the garage where they could hit, and then they said they didn't step on our property. They pulled off, so they knew we were onto them.
Oh, yeah.
I would take a card.
Huh?
I would take a card.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to touch it until the police saw it so that they had evidence. And that's what he told me next time. He said, just take it and throw it in the garbage. I said, I don't throw it in the garbage, I'll keep it. But that's what the state boy told me. He's like, but yeah, he was wanting to arrest him. And then when he come back, he's like, you were right. They all have warrants. So he's like, we'll probably do a traffic stop. And apparently they didn't do a traffic stop to get him. So
Yeah.
they knew who he was. Well, they saw the car. They're like, oh, we've seen that around the corner, you know. So, I mean, they were talking back and forth. But my Saturday night group, a lot of them know.
Sure.
And he said that the one guy, he's like, he's bad news. He's like, so I'm like, okay. So we pulled up there this morning. I went over and looked, make sure he wasn't up to no good.
Well, I can't, for the last 3 days, I couldn't get in the cameras. Period.
Yeah, I know Grady had trouble too.
I couldn't get in.
Have you tried? I replugged them in.
I'll try it again.
Yeah.
Which cameras? The one at this door?
All of them.
I quit that app was terrible.
Yeah,
I can't go back into
I'm searching for a new system
to
because we need to.
archive. I can't go back.
I want to go all the way around. I want to get the back and just add more cameras. I want them to be able to. I can't zoom in. A couple of times I needed to zoom in on a license plate and I can't. So we need to. I mean, they're 10 years old. It's time to upgrade them.
Yeah, probably.
And somebody keeps shutting this light off right here.
Well, by this door.
Which light?
The light right beside the door.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Somebody keeps shutting it off.
It's usually on during the day.
Yeah, I try. Well, that's what we keep it on all the time, pretty
Yeah.
much.
It's always on during the daytime.
The
But at night, it's not on. This is black.
yeah, it is darker over here when those aren't on.
Put some motion sensor cameras.
I think it's what we need to do. Lights.
Lights over there. They're cheap.
Well,
now.
me and Grady have talked about
Solar, they're cheap.
putting in the same lights that we got in the back. Just light up this whole place.
Yeah. They'd be all right.
You could probably put one on that pole right there shining down.
We've got one there.
Shining.
Like one of ours, yeah. We could put our own on there.
Solar light on that.
Yeah, we put it on the fascia too.
We could do that, yeah.
That way it's not, you're not putting anything on our building, but
Yeah.
put solar power on there.
We could, yeah. I hadn't explored solar lights. That might be the way to go.
I'm just hoping for that one.
Yeah.
They're getting better and better with the technology.
Yeah.
I'm trying right now, I went and bought a cheap one, $20. Experiment. Try to go into it, take it apart.
Yeah.
So I got it, finally got, I mean, I've seen small wire, but I ain't never seen wire this.
Oh, that small. You gotta imagine LED doesn't take a lot of voltage.
And then it's battery to begin with. I mean, we're talking heroin.
Yeah, no, I've seen that.
And there's nothing to play with inside there.
I think Sam's, I've got a set from them about a year or two ago that I set outside of my wooden Cook's buildings because they're way out. I ain't got no fire, I don't really care to, but if you walk out there at night, you'll walk up on it within a radius, and I know when the deer walk in there, poof, I mean, it lights up. And they'll last, you'll see them in the morning if you get up early at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and it's dim, and they won't.
I had one shining on our shed for years and years and years.
Yeah,
And finally quit the bed.
right, I was gonna say, and this is way better than I've ever seen. They started to get better for technology.
Put the solar panel up on the top,
Mm-hmm.
the polar,
Yep, I remember those style where you get the solar panel and you get the light. Yeah, I had those. Those were good. Those were nice and bright. But it lasted several years. But
that lasted probably 10 or 12.
yeah,
And then it started, it'd come on sometimes, so I got up and cleaned the solar panel off.
yeah, get that sensor cleaned off.
Got it cleaned off. And then it lasted. No, that's fine.
Yeah, but they are coming out and they're doing better. It's a 2-pack, I think, for like $30. I think. And
Really?
they're not bad at all.
Yeah, we may need to.
You can put them randomly around. They do double-sided tape on them too. You ain't got to do anything invasive. Tell you what, they work just fine.
Like I So I think the plan is we'll work on the pool this week.
Yeah, you said you weren't too thrilled about people with your lantern in there after all. You said it leaked around the drain, maybe? Is that what Sherry told you? Did you find where it leaked around the drain, or you just assuming it leaked around the drain?
There's a hole in it.
Right. So you said you lost a lot of water.
Yeah, I would lose a couple inches a
I
week.
got one more thing.
Go ahead.
And you know, during
So if you're good,
July,
You know nothing about it.
No,
It's
it-
evaporated.
let's think about it. When they start
perpetuating the
pouring
lie.
it hot and
That,
stuff,
that's
we
exactly
think
what
about
they lie.
what's those
Did you put tarp on it?
Yeah, I gotta get them tarp too.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. All that ice packed up and just shoved all the water out of the line. That's fine, I don't care.
But now that it's, lemons in it, I don't think there's any water.
Really.
Like, one, I got a hole in the line, two,
You were lying somewhere. No, do you have a second jet?
all my hoses are hung up. I don't disconnect them off the pool side anymore, just disconnect them off the pump side.
Right.
Cause I filled everything up with antifreeze.
We're gonna have quite a few visitors here today.
What'd you do?
Noah's entire family's coming.
Oh, what's that?
Huh? Because he's
You getting done?
leaving. No, he's leaving Saturday.
Like sun up?
They haven't said.
Oh, through the guard.
They haven't said, that's not a good plan.
Nope.
Well, you know, he's gotta go someplace for X number of weeks first.
No, he's been doing that.
No,
But yeah, no, he's got, yeah.
I'm talking to, you know, that Benning or someplace like that, get beat up all, beat on and everything.
Yeah, they had that earlier. See, he's been doing the
He's a corporal.
pre-deployment.
Corporal?
No, he's medic.
That's
Yeah,
same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe corporal.
yeah. He's got, I think he's at sergeant status, but they're something with somebody's.
Yeah, what it is that you
Somebody's-
go to sergeant pays, but you're not getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Oh, frocking.
Well, yeah, he doesn't officially have the title yet,
Right. It's called frocking.
but he's there.
You fill the billet, but you don't get paid for it till next year or so.
Somebody steps down or something. I don't know what.
Get an opening in that slot, and then you get it. The bad part about frocking, unless there's 3 levels, first, second, third increment. First increment, you get it, and you get back pay.
Oh,
Second increment, you get back pay. Third increment, you get it, you don't get it.
ah,
So if you go outside a year, that's a pretty good chunk of change.
mm-hmm. I know that they're getting some. Yeah, they're getting quite a bit when he gets back. I think.
That's why everybody looked at the Navy started doing that. Like fleet-wide exams.
Yeah.
You always wanted to be the first or second prop. Uncle Gene's here.
Oh,
See
good.
him?
Yep.
Wait. I see the car, but I don't think he's in it, is he?
Yes, he is, I believe.
All right. You going that way? All right.
God, yeah. God totally changed my entire
What are you changing here?
sermon this morning.
Somebody copying you?
Steve,
No,
Stevie, can you hear me?
I was going in one route and
Okay.
getting
Psalm
things ready, and it was like,
17.
oh,
No,
okay.
4. Take delight in the Lord, and
I'm
he will
done.
give you the desires of your heart.
I might want to come be participant for your Wednesday night meetings, but I can't this Wednesday.
That's fine.
I'm gone. Sure.
Yeah, we had a good,
But I wouldn't mind.
had some good.
Embarrassingly enough, I have lots of experience with that stuff.
Yeah.
So I might be able to connect with them on a level.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, hey,
And I've set the. Here's our.
I overdosed and got taken to St. Louis many years ago.
Really?
Yeah, don't tell other people that story because it's embarrassing.
Well, yeah, but you can have that.
Embarrassing. Yeah, I think I want to participate in this because I've struggled with addiction all my life. Somebody told me something I work with named Drew, who goes to Murfreesboro Christ Community Church.
thy righteousness
Rick
and thy
Neely's are
salvation. I have not
pastor.
concealed thy loving kindness
Different.
and thy truth from the great congregation.
Yeah.
They do it in tongues and
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, that's just not me.
Yeah.
I'm too straight laced for that. Much as I don't want to disrespect them, it's like, that's not me.
Yeah.
You know? But anyway, he was telling me because he had 5 DUIs in his life, and he said, you know, God cured him of alcoholism. And I was like, I believe you. I said, I believe you. I said, I've struggled with it all my life. I said, I truly subscribe that you have an addiction, you have it the rest of your life. Nope, God will cure it and it'll be ended. I said, I'm not arguing. That's just different perspectives.
Yeah.
And he believes that. And guess what? That means it's true then.
Mm-hmm.
I just know how hard or easy it can be to slide down that hill.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that is so odd. One thing I never struggled with was I abused alcohol, but I don't crave it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
never have. That was one weird thing. See, all the other extracurricular activities I struggled with.
That's in opposition to that. So,
Everybody thinks the answer's on the other side after you get blowed out. The problem is, you gotta come back.
Mm-hmm.
It's never permanent. That's only a temporary fix. And the next time it takes a little bit more. And sometimes there's never a next time because it's over if you took too much.
Yep. Yeah. There's
Who proclaims peace, who brings news of good things.
huge need.
Proclaims salvation, who says design,
Well,
where
I guess
God
it's not
reigns.
working for
This is the testimony that Isaiah.
Heck, I think,
about here in this long-
marijuana nowadays is-
Oh, it's a gateway drug. That's what we tell people all the time. It's a gateway drug.
You know, I've always heard that. Never believed it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think nowadays I agree with it. Because the way they're manipulating marijuana strains now, you can actually go be sent in the hospital for marijuana overdose now. And that used to never be the case.
Yep.
When I was in high school or something like that, because it was so weak, it was like, whatever.
Yeah, and then the cartels are
Yeah, so it's a different game now.
the state boys told me
It's a different game now.
that they are the cartels. Like, not too many people are cooking meth anymore because the cartels are bringing it in. Like, that's where they're getting most of it.
Yeah. Things like not on the street.
And it's true.
I think they got a new sheriff down there now, maybe that'll slow down.
Service, there was this active giving
I don't know.
of the goodness and greatness of
You know,
God,
if it slow down till they want it to slow down.
who he is and what he's about as a part of the worship experience. So all of these things are going to keep a person busy if we're doing it in the worship experience, at least mentally busy.
I told you 20 years ago.
Otherwise busy
Mhm.
through our expressions.
I learned about the sewer, man.
Verse number 11.
I
Lord,
thought we
you
were
do not
starting.
withhold your compassion from me, your constant love
She just got Tyler and
guard me. So here's
oh
the gift.
Dallas is Dallas probably has this. Dad.
I didn't
But,
expect,
you know, it's important to remember that worshiping isn't just singing.
Joyce to be
Anytime
here.
that you're proclaiming God's praises through your testimony, through anything
Yeah.
in art, through any way that you're,
she knows.
focusing on God and
Just-
praising God, that's all.
They released her yesterday. Went in ER, got her in her room, and cardiologist came and said we can be outpatient. So,
God gives all kinds of compassion.
yeah, that's what she went in for. But
He has all kinds of
they had a couple different.
and truth. And those are given to us too.
was
Guard
hurting.
us
No,
from
no.
guard us from
Carbondale.
Guard us from sin, guard us from temptation, guard us from lust, guard us from all these
They
negative
don't
things
open that
that
door. I
Satan is
didn't
out there
expect to see,
on the other side of the court trying to draw us toward. But God is always with
Carol.
us and always compassionate and trying to meet our needs. So the God who saved us will save us again, physically, our relationships, our
doors in there
financial,
for
whatever we might find ourselves in as far as problems. So, his testimony is recognizing the involvement of God in the past, the involvement of God presently, and the involvement of
Later,
the gracious God
See-
in the future. So that's part of the testimony that is given. So, you can't do this, again, unless you're in the worship assembly, which means you need to make that a priority in your schedule to be in the worship assembly, wherever it is. And it's not, as I said before, it's not limited we worship God personally and privately, and these features and these factors fit into those circumstances likewise. In our individual worship, we can involve, we may give a testimony to other people who we meet in a time frame that's compatible with what that person, the relationship, or the person worship experience that was we were involved with comes from. So, the God who had saved him would save him again, and God's compassionate care never, ever ends. Both our testimony of the past and our pleas in the present can be a part of our worship. Any comments or questions in addition? All right, my summary points. True worship requires that one be actively engaged. Point two, true worship requires understanding the priority of being present in the assembly of worship. You look at our vacant seats in the worship time, and you'll see a lot of people miss this point. Next point, true worship has an outward expression with a focus on God alone. And next, true worship requires approaching God unashamed. What does it mean to approach God unashamed? You repented of your sin. You sought God before you worship. You allow God to cleanse your heart into the worship experience. So there's preparation involved. It's just not get your clothes on and drive and get to the parking lot and walk in the door. There's more to it than that. Unfortunately, a lot of us forget that or don't know it at all. But we do need to be reminded. So lastly, God's compassion, love, and truth will always be called through worship. And here are my application points. Praise God for all he has done, is doing, and will do. Allow the gift of the Lord to teach you and apply and use what you're taught. Don't leave it on the floor. And next, wait patiently for the Lord to hear your prayer and to deliver you. We are impatient people. We don't want to wait, but we must when we're in circumstances like that. And next, be obedient and give God all that he has. Don't try to put on pieces to keep in your pocket. Give it all. Next point, verbally and by life actions, give God glory in your worship of him. Verbally and in life actions. So, as we alluded before, if you, as Jim was talking about lying, don't be a liar about the God you serve. Tell the truth and let that truth be known in the worship that you give to him. And last, when the worship service has ended, trust God with all that remains. And that's a difficult thing for us many times too. We want to second guess and whatever, but that's not the way to do it. Go to the Lord, seek the resolve, and then trust the Lord that it is good and will work. Because it will.
Yeah, we're getting a few people in here.
Mm-hmm.
You go back further along the way. You might not see it for a while.
Mm, you would.
Good is done.
So
Anything else?
I'm 7 till.